welcome back to Bass Capital Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Lara Wallace, and today I'm talking with local legend, Sam Deputy. Thanks so much for coming on, Sam.
Anytime. This is wonderful.
I'm very excited. You and I both share a big passion for Putnam County and all that it has to offer. You serve our community in many ways, so we're going to have many a conversation, but today, I have you here about some very special things that you've been involved in. Now, in order to move forward, we got to know, how did Putnam County become your home?
That's an involved story, but we can cut it down.
Or leave it long. I like to talk.
My grandparents retired to Florida in the 50s and owned the Crescent City Courier and the Crescent City Journal. There were two newspapers in Crescent City back then.
Wow.
And they combined them to the Crescent City Courier Journal. And my dad had asthma to a great degree. And of course, we lived in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's where most of us, my siblings, well, that's where we were all born, all seven of us.
That's the second time today, by the way, I've heard Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, great. We have cousins galore up there. But so we came to Florida. And
we being
our whole family, all 9 of us.
I was going to say there are a lot of deputies.
Yes,
you got to
there's
clarify
7 of
that.
us. There's 7 deputies. And if you meet a deputy worldwide, we are related. And it doesn't matter the ethnicity, because I was the only Anglo at a wedding of a girl that was deputy, and she called me up and invited me to her wedding, and I went. It was in Orlando, and she was a deputy from Vermont, and we were related, and I had a fantastic time at that wedding.
Oh, wow.
I was family. But we moved to Florida, and I delivered the Crescent City Courier Journal for 3 years, first, second, and third grade.
Oh,
in Crescent City.
Boy.
Yes.
I love it.
I got a quarter a week in 1962, 3, and 4. A quarter a week, and I was rich.
I bet.
I was rich.
You had all the ice cream from the ice cream man coming through.
Yes, yes. And, of course, Palatka just swallowed us up. We hit the road running. We ended up at St. James Methodist Church. The high school was great. We all went to, well, not all of us, but most of us went to Campbell Elementary. We walked to school. We did safety patrol. Back in the day, on Friday, you took your safety patrol badge home, and the Howe Theater let you come and watch a movie over the weekend for free with your badge.
I love that.
Wasn't that wonderful? And we would walk down there and do that. And of course, we live downtown. We've always been downtowners for the most part.
Where at downtown?
Well, we lived at 5th and Olive.
Okay.
For years. That house is now gone in the great tear down of the 70s.
But the paper was in Crescent City.
But the paper was in Crescent City. There were more opportunities up here for a family, of course. And then my mom and dad taught printing at St. John's. And then they went in and opened a print shop, which we had for 57 and a half years. I was going to say,
I did not realize that the print shop had such a long history.
57 and a half years, and this community supported us well.
And you supported the community
and
well.
we tried to support the community with good work. And my parents believed in education, and because they both met at Indiana University. And my dad has his master's, and, it was just a great atmosphere. Growing up in Palatka in the 60s and 70s was phenomenal, just phenomenal.
Very, very strong community sense, correct?
The fabric, the teachers knew you. They had no problem at church telling your mom, you need to talk to your, they had no problems with that. And our coaches just knew every family, and they would come and visit a family if there was an issue.
Yeah,
they would do stuff like that to because they wanted their athletes to succeed. And back then we were sending them just everywhere.
And we've had a lot of great talent. In
Great
the
talent,
athletic,
way
department.
beyond. Our talent here is still, I say, way beyond our size. Mr. P, what Mr. P does,
I know.
how does he do that?
Beyond me.
You know, Coach,
Something in the water.
Coach McCool, you know, they pulled out of kids more than they knew they had. But the school teachers, Miss Zetrier, you know, all of them were just phenomenal teachers, and Miss Lima Page Smith. I went back for another degree when I was 40. I have 3 college degrees, and I went back at 40 to get another one, and it was all math. 2 years, 4 days a week, math, and I took Lima Page Smith's notes, and my professors hated Lima Page Smith notes, but I had I was on honor roll. And finally, at the end of 2 years, they took those notes from me, and I thought I was going to get them back, and they destroyed them because it was old math. Lima Page taught,
functional math.
But it worked.
Right.
It worked, and you know, I graduated the 3rd time with honors in math because Lima Page Smith.
Now, listen, I don't know anything about the new math. There's that show, Are You Smarter Than the 5th Grader? Not
Yes.
with this math.
No, a 5th grader's got me beat nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can pull out the old. But no, it was a great community, and we had lots of activities, and you know, you had sports. And as a family, we played sports. We went to church. We worked at the print shop. We had to belong to a club. We were all on the newspaper staff at the school, and back then, every other week, there was a newspaper full size.
I remember when I was much, much younger, them having that.
Yes,
And they did away with
we just had it was good, and if you got in trouble, you got in trouble, and other parents would tell on you.
Oh yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I had the joy of interviewing Mr. John Alexander, who was a music teacher for many, many years, up until 2009. And he was sharing with me, you know, I think one of the fundamental differences is how the teachers were respected. I mean, they had the teacher homecoming, you know, type of events, the galas. You know, it was a much different atmosphere than our teachers, how they're regarded now.
Correct.
Which is a shame, honestly.
It is.
But I do feel like, and I still feel like we have a sense of that. One of the charms of Putnam County is our community. And while it looks different, you know, I know that the coach knows all of the students and everybody knows who the coach is. And so we still have that piece, but much different than when it was back then.
Yeah. But it was good, and you can tell. My class had a birthday party Saturday at Azalea Brewing, and we have every year we have a birthday party, and so we have that, and it's neat in a small town to see who comes and the camaraderie, and it's like we just graduated and we're back at a social, and we're just talking in the fabric.
You do this every year?
Every year. Oh, we
my
get together way
gosh.
too much. I can say
Well,
that.
I know where I'm going when you do
Yeah.
your next birthday party.
It
I'd
is-
love to come
yeah.
eavesdrop on that.
Oh, it's just an amazing thing, but it's just neat to see that fabric
right.
because it's heartfelt fabric of sharing those years together in a small town. And this is what I say to people when you come in my store. I'll ask, because I ask where you're from. You don't get out of the...
You got that map up there?
I got that map,
I
and
love
we
it.
finally found Hawaii. Hawaii came in the door.
Yeah.
And why are you here in Palatka from Hawaii?
Right.
But
Well, you got to pause. You opened the
Yes.
door.
Oh.
Why were they here?
they met a friend from Tennessee, and they both came to Florida. And when they came to Florida, they came to Palatka.
I love that.
Because I tell everybody, and this is my theme, Palatka is the center of the civilized known universe.
You're not wrong.
If you want to be somewhere, it's here. But what we do here is I will say, Laura, what year did you graduate? And you will say, 2017, because she is young.
I'll take that compliment.
And then I know everything I need to know about you. I know who the current teachers are. If you said Central Academy, you had Coach Cooper, you had blah, 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 blah. We know who was there. We know what school you went to. The information falls together because we share so much, just because we're here. So all I have to do is ask you what year you graduated, and I'll know if you were downtown in the courthouse parking lot or you were at the old Central Academy. I'll know everything I need to know.
That's another version of Who's Your Mom and Dad.
Thank you. Thank you. We can play that here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and I love it.
So tell me, as I think back to 7 of you, right?
Yes.
What were some of the things, especially being located downtown, the downtown area was thriving.
Yes.
Tell me, what are some of your favorite memories of living in Palatka then?
Mom, with 7, you have a lot of chores because there's a lot of laundry, and Mom and Dad had their business and worked. So we had to work at the business. We had to learn how to cook, and we cooked for the family. So what we cooked in 6th grade is what they ate, and so you caught on quickly. And we have memories of going to Setzer's Food Fair on the north side, the big grocery store where ServPro now is.
Right.
And my mom, 3rd grade, whatever, here's the list, here's the money, go.
Right.
Get dinner and get it cooked, tell us when it's ready.
That's a dream.
She did that with all 7 of us. So when I went to college and I saw people stand on the washer and try to get more clothes in.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
I thought, do I say something or do I just let this idiot go?
Right.
And I decided I needed some fun, so I let him go. But we knew how to do all of that. But we have memories. But I think one of our greatest memories is I grew up on 5th Street, which was the border of the black-white
Right.
neighborhood. And Campbell, we were just integrating at Campbell. And what was so neat was I finally went to school with those that I lived with.
So you went home and they were your community, but when you went to school, you were segregated at
Correct.
the time.
But
Right.
then but when we integrated, wow, Herman Melzer was at my school.
Right.
What are you doing here, Herman? And his mom, Pat Milton, worked for the city water department 50 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
But we have those memories of going through these stages of socialness,
Right.
and everything just becoming. And then downtown, back in the day, there were houses everywhere. Everywhere there were houses. There were no empty lots. Fred Green Field was our park that we had, or Campbell Elementary, but otherwise, the street. We rode bicycles like there was no tomorrow around. Do you remember the old the bug fog truck?
Yes, I do.
Okay. We would chase that, breathing in all of that fog because it was fog. And so we just...
You didn't know any better.
No.
And if you did, after that, you didn't know any better.
Right. So we have... And trick-or-treating downtown was just phenomenal.
And it wasn't Boo on the Avenue, it was trick-or-treating,
We
right?
went door to door.
Right.
Door to door, and no issues. We had just very few issues and problems. Everyone just seemed to get along. We had a dog that we walked the 4 or 5 blocks to the river to give it a bath. We gave it a bath in the river.
Goodness. Not in the fountains.
Not in the fountain.
In the river.
Although we remember when Johnny Halford built those.
Yeah.
And then we walked to church because it was 2 blocks from our house. We were all members of the Boy Scout 62, so we walked to their scout hut, and the girls went to Girl Scouts. And It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I wish every neighborhood had that now, because we just knew each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think what I do, again, back to things that I appreciate about Putnam County is that while we are, obviously times have changed and it is not as safe to go out
Correct.
to that level of things. I still think if you look at our spokes on our wheel of neighboring counties, that I have zero problems at 10, 11 at night when I can't sleep walking in my neighborhood. I feel very comfortable going over and being in any part of the community where there's a perception, a perceived danger, and Putnam County is just crime ridden, but there's crime everywhere.
Everywhere.
There are negative areas of town everywhere. And those that say, oh, we don't have that, those are usually the specials on, not in our small town would this serial killer be,
Right.
next door. So there is that everywhere. But here, we really do look out for each other,
do.
In my neighborhood, for example, I shared with you, I live in River Groves. And there are kids in the neighborhood who, my kids don't have to be home, but I pull out a piece of, somebody had a fish hook in their foot. Mom was at home, then I'm going to go to Lara's house.
Right.
And I still very much believe that while others may perceive this as a negative, there's negativity and we don't have that community, I would disagree.
I totally disagree with that. I know if there's something bad happening, we're on the news.
Yeah, right.
We're on the news. But we have so many fundraisers for people needing funds for an emergency.
Just had one this weekend.
We did.
Yeah.
I do remember this because I had melanoma cancer, and they had told me stage 4, 3 months, go plan your funeral, go do whatever you need to do.
Oh, my.
And so that was 08, 09. And my insurance quickly phased me out. Quickly. And so I was just out there with nothing. And a scan, I had 3 scans in one day one time. Well, 20,
Oh, that's not cheap.
huge amounts of money.
Right.
But they told me at Shands in Jacksonville I needed this scan. And if I'd lived in Jacksonville, they had a fund for that.
Right.
And I had just paid for a scan, and so it was hard. I came back to Palatka, and the money arrived the next day, unknown to me, and I went to the next appointment the next week and said, well, here's the funds, let's get this going. They couldn't believe it. The Shands people could not believe that you could go to Palatka, come back with $8,000 to $10,000
Right.
that had just been handed to you
Right.
to go do this.
Right.
But this community will do that.
My son, I could not agree more. My son, almost 2 years ago, had open heart surgery, and
wow.
that was huge. He was 14 at the time.
Scary as all get out.
Oh, that's a whole nother podcast in itself about that kind of a life event. But that, along with many other events that I've seen, I don't think that I cooked for probably 2 weeks. Just the people calling, checking, dropping by, sending him cards in the mail. The support without me ever asking was just abundant.
Right.
And that is something that I am a firm believer, whether it be through Facebook, through networking. Often you'll go to the Handyway or local restaurants and you'll see jugs out with somebody's story. We are a community that takes care of one another.
We do, and other communities. What I want our community to thrive economically, as long as we don't lose our identities. And we see communities around us that used to have our identity,
Right.
and now they're moving here for what they've lost, for what we still have.
Exactly.
And it's important that we don't forget, and it's important that we do care, and it's important that the little things get taken care of, because we will thrive. And we've always thrived. I've always said that it was because we're so far from anywhere that if we don't work together, it won't work.
Right.
You know, we don't have a choice.
Yep.
We have to get along.
Right.
And
Our resources are smaller.
right.
However,
Right.
we where those may be lacking, we really do step.
I don't have to like you, but I have to respect you, and I need to support you.
Well said.
You
Well
know?
said. I like that.
But I don't have to be your friend.
Right. But we're a community, and
we're
that
community.
unity is part of that.
Yes.
And we have to. I think again, the times are so different. I feel very thankful to have graduated in, what did you say?
17.
2017. I feel very thankful to have grown up in an era where we didn't have as much exposure to the internet, to technology. I'm not saying that there aren't great uses.
Right.
We're using a platform right now.
Right. It's not bad.
Right.
It's not bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of pros with it, but I do feel like there's this shift from how we leaned on one another before to maybe how we would lean on someone online. And again, I think there's a lot of positivity in that. But I would like to, as I shared with the viewers, I've shared with you, that I hope that this podcast is a platform for us to remember those the value in community and what a special place Putnam County is, because there are people who do move here from other communities who are blown away by that, who just cannot wrap their mind around people taking care of people.
Right. It's an amazing thing. But I plan on being here until the box is closed, and then I'll be still here.
The paper box.
The paper box.
Exactly.
We're going to close the box here.
Well, while we're going to not think about
Yes.
the Sam Deputy box being closed, but we are going to go back to you being a child. So, 7 of you guys, you clearly found things to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds like your parents raised you to be responsible community members. You worked, you went to school, you gave back to your community. I can't imagine with that how it must have felt with you guys running all over Palatka and always had eyes on you. What are some of the things that, as a child back then, you would look forward to doing? Some of the events that would go on.
We always looked forward to the city pool, which was at the Ravines.
Yep, I do remember hearing that.
We all learned to swim in Crescent City at Lake Stella. Coach Borg, 2 weeks every summer, they taught swimming at Lake Stella in Crescent City, and we took our lessons there to learn to swim, and we would enjoy because back then, how many pools were there?
Right.
Not many in the 60s. And so we enjoyed that. We enjoyed playing football at Fred Green Park because we lived in that north side neighborhood, and the baseball field, the basketball courts were there. That park was an island of people. That whole city, an island. And, of course, that's the old train engine turnabout. That's where the train engines were turned, and that's why that whole field was there. And if you dug, you would find, as we did, lots of iron and railroad nails and all of that were in that where we played. So we enjoyed that. Downtown, you would go to the Ravines, which was on the hill. And also back then, the train came to the riverfront down Main Street. There were tracks. And so we would watch for that, and we'd put our pennies on there to get them elongated.
I was always terrified to do that because somewhere along the way I was told that you could derail a train with a penny.
Correct. We were told that too.
Yeah, whether it's a myth or not, I do not advise going to put your pennies on the railroad track. However, I always wanted to do that.
And then we always went bottling. Back then, you collected bottles. You got 2 cents a bottle to turn them in, and you went to Huntley Brothers and turned them in.
Okay.
And then you had movie money for Howe Theater.
I love it.
Then during the summer, the Howe Theater did RC Cola days.
Oh, I love RC Cola.
I do too. But with 6 RC bottle caps, you got into the movies once a week for free. 6 caps.
So you guys were basically
We
digging
needed-
in the trash all the time.
No, we needed 42 a week.
Oh,
Mom got an RC machine and put it in front of our print shop.
oh, that's brilliant.
And
Go,
so-
Mom.
so we had them every
Way
week.
to support the cause, Mom.
Yes, and they had at the Howe Theater on the stage. They would do games like the Twist or whatever, and you would see Godzilla Eats Tokyo for the 40th time. But 6 bottle caps every week during the summer. It was a summer-long thing,
Right.
and the Howe Theater was neat. And I hate to say it, but that's just the way this was. Our black friends sat up in the balcony and had to come in off of another street. And of course, the Anglo-white children came in the front door, and that's just the way it was.
You didn't know any different.
We didn't know any different, which
Right.
is that we were always up there looking for who came from the neighborhood, and they're upstairs. Of course, they were throwing bubble gum down in our hair.
Oh, my.
We just had a good time, you know,
Yeah.
because so that happened during the summer, but there was just always lots going on.
Are there any traditions that happened or events that happened as a child that have carried over to today?
Well, the Christmas parade is one big one. The Christmas parade is one of those things in Palatka that's always been, always will be, and we're never changing the date.
Tell me about it. I want to know
About the Christmas
full
parade.
history.
Okay.
Tell me everything.
We've done some research and we're still doing it. The Christmas parade has been held the Friday after Thanksgiving since 1909.
So if anybody's watching this, because there's always a
Yeah.
question of when is
Yeah.
XYZ, it's always going to be the Friday after Thanksgiving.
At
and as
7
long as you're
p.m.
at the helm,
It'll
7 p.m.
Well, actually, and you can ask Carl Flagg this, 6:59:59.
Okay,
I
6:59,
started. Carl Flagg, he'll back me up on that because he's always the last one to get in line, but he would make it.
Uh-huh.
He'd make it.
He's a busy fella.
And we love Carl Flagg. He calls my mom, Mom.
Oh,
You know, we're family, so we love Carl Flagg, and we like his wife. She's a saint. But that Christmas parade, and there were so many other traditions with that we remember. One was the numbers in the windows.
okay.
So Friday night after Thanksgiving, the crowds would come in. It was just a big crowd. And in every store window, and back then we had more stores than St. Augustine. They came over here to shop. And you can ask the old yellow jackets over there and the mullets, and they'll tell you they came to Palatka to shop.
He's not just calling names, by the way.
Right. No, those are their high school mascots.
There we go.
Yes. And mullets, if you can imagine. But the parade was there, but every store would have numbers
Okay.
in the window, usually it's in threes. And then the Palatka Daily News printed the numbers in the news.
Okay.
And if they printed your number, you won a prize from that store. And you would have to walk all of downtown. And so the crowd was huge because back then there were very few free, things for free.
Right.
It's not like today.
Right.
You know,
Everything's free. It feels
everything's
like.
free. But back then, you worked for it or you didn't have it.
Right.
And, we were all poor, but nobody knew it. Nobody knew it.
Oh, and you have a rich life. Money is just
Nothing. It was
Exactly.
nothing. So they walked and until late at night. They were walking downtown looking for their numbers. We've done that several times since, but because of the technology numbering 20,000, and it's expensive. It's expensive to get all that done now because it's
Right.
individually numbered, no numbers alike, and. But we've done it several times. We just haven't picked that back up again. But boy, it
vote
brought
that you
people
pick it back
downtown.
up. At least once.
Yes.
Just a throwback.
It was fun. The last time we did it for 3 or 4 weeks. But we started at the parade and then did it through Christmas. And people still hadn't gotten their numbers because, you're doing so many newspapers. They're not all connected to coming downtown. But we had the flyers, and it was a nice time. People came downtown to look to see what they had not ever known. It's amazing what they don't know about downtown.
Oh, sure.
Or what's down here.
Yeah.
You know, we now have 6 or 7 antique stores. Does anybody in Palatka know that?
Well, I can tell
Yeah.
you, I work, play, all of that here, and I did not know we were up to that many. That's
Yes.
incredible.
And several of us are recruiting. We want more, and so we're talking to some people from other places. But the Christmas parade, so our parade has always been at night. With our street lights, etc., and it's just been fun. But it has truly expanded, and it's all different now, and I love it. So this the downtown group took over in '06. Kathy Nagengast was the Main Street manager. She was leaving for Jacksonville Beach, and she came and asked us to take it over. I remember because I still have the paperwork, and there were 37 units in the parade, and that included police, spots, everything. And now it's been, of course, during COVID, we lost 2 years, but we've capped it at 225.
What?
And
I did not know it was that long. I knew that
capped.
we had a long parade.
It's capped. And we've had some issues lately. We've had a couple groups come down from Jacksonville and slip in somehow and twerk. Like I would have twerking in the parade, and they're good at it. They're good
I
at
love you
it.
so much.
They're good at
Hey,
it.
different strokes for different
That's
folks,
right. I was told this. Well, you know, in some families, that's what we do around the kitchen table. Well, I can tell you in the deputy family, that's never happened.
Never will we see that.
But I think we got that under control for this year.
Okay.
So there'll be no twerking. And
that he can at least attest to.
that group comes out of Jacksonville. We had to really follow it up. And they didn't sign up, nothing.
I think that's funny that they crashed a Putnam County parade. How wonderful.
Because who else would you want to crash?
Right,
But the best parade around.
Yeah.
So we're at 225. We'll have 2,000 to 3,000 people in the parade. And the last estimate we got from the authorities is we have 17,000, 18,000 people attend.
Wow.
And 1/3 of our attendees are out of county, and 1/3 of our floats are out of county. So I have the Fernandina Pirates. We have people from Lake City every year. Our Grinch comes from Winter Park, Florida for the last 15, 20 years.
So somebody from out of town has interest in...
Oh, yeah, they come from all over. This year I have, if it works, knock on wood, I'll have the twirlers from the villages, all over 80, and they're wearing the French boots.
I love it.
I do too.
I
It's like
love
I can't wait
everything
to see
about
that.
Yeah.
So we actively, you know, people say, well, it just happens. No, we actively go after people.
I don't think people realize how much goes into planning the parade.
We start January. I'm taking registrations now.
Do you have an online link to that?
Facebook.
I'm going to leave that link
Christmas
below.
Parade.
Because, I mean, unless you're twerking.
Right,
then
no twerking.
No twerking.
Or
on the
anything
parade.
like twerking. But no, we love groups, and I'm not taking any more. We phased them out, just walkers. I want action. It's not a walk. This is a Christmas parade.
Right.
Dress up. Do something different. The best thing I think we have is the 3 goats, and they have these fantastic costumes, and they're the 3 wise men. They're gorgeous with
I
these.
must have missed that.
Oh my gosh! And they
goodness.
come out of Bostwick.
You know what would be fun though? Just ping ponging ideas here. You know, if we do have people who are interested in walking, maybe we start or the next morning or some way incorporate a walk into the parade.
We've thought about it because we're looking at next year. Let's see, this is 24. In 25, you know, the movie Trains, Planes, and whatever that movie is with John Candy and all those that were in it.
Familiar. I
old
probably
movie.
watched it, yeah.
I would love, and Art Hall and I are going to do it. We want an automobile, plane, train, anything with 4 wheels except for crotch rocket motorcycles because insurance
Right.
will
right.
not allow that.
And again, that's another piece I think
Right.
people don't
Get.
realize are in the planning.
Right, because I have to deal with insurance.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to do that kind of a parade decorated during the
Yeah.
day to see all of these but I would love a plane. So we want a plane
I
come
know
down
a
St.
pilot or
John.
two. We might be able to
Find a mini plane?
Yeah.
Um,
There's a young man who has helped me capture some drone footage. His name's Ethan Cole. Incredible young man, but he built his own plane.
Oh, see?
But we'll work on that.
Something.
We'll partner with that one.
I just think we need those type of activities. It builds community. It
Yeah.
builds rapport. And we believe in safety. You know, I have to look at every float and I have to actually check to make sure you haven't been drinking to
Right.
drive.
That's
And
that's
I
a
do
plus.
all of that nonchalantly when you come up to my
Check-in station.
well, we have check-in. Larry Harvey checks everybody in, and then I have different people on different streets. We know exactly where we're putting your float. We have measured it out, and it's numbered because it fits so that music isn't next to music. Children aren't next to a mud truck that's decorated because that's too scary, and with insurance, it's not going to happen on our watch.
How do you map that out? Like, how do you
I
just your
spend.
mind?
I haven't had but 2 Thanksgivings since '03, because at Thanksgiving I am
Using a turkey leg and a mashed potato.
My mom and I are mapping it out with all of these registrations, because they tell me how many people, how big their vehicle is, what it does, what the float is, how big is the trailer. I have to know all of those things, and then we come down. A couple of us come down at 2 in the morning, and we're numbering that street so that they can fit. Now we do it in chalk, so it's not permanent,
Right.
like you see out there. That's not us. We do it in chalk, and I have had it rain before the parade.
Oh no.
And do that. But in the 21 years, minus 19 years that I've done it, it has never rained on the Palatka Christmas Parade. It has rained in East Palatka. It's rained 15 minutes after it's over, but never during the parade.
The Putnam County Fair seems to always command rain when
Yes.
it comes, but never. That's
Yeah,
a
it's
good statistic.
The good Lord watches fools. That's what we say.
So you watched it as a child.
Yes.
And then was it all of downtown was approached to take it over? Was it specifically?
Yes,
Okay.
Kathy was leaving, and she needed someone, and we knew nothing about doing a parade.
Oh, that's the best kind of voluntold. Is
Oh,
when you know
yes,
nothing.
and I can tell you this: after that first year, I won't say who was mayor, but the mayor got a hold of me and said, "Now let me tell you about the etiquette." And I didn't know there was parade etiquette.
I didn't know
Had
that
no
either.
idea. So because this is the Palatka Christmas Parade, and I do this now religiously, Palatka comes first.
Okay.
Our fire department is first. Our police department, so our fire department and then any other. Our police department and then any other. It's our city commission and then the Putnam County Commission, and then I invite the mayors of the other communities. But ours goes
Home first.
first.
Okay.
Because that's who we are.
Right.
And we choose our parade marshals wisely.
And tell me what a parade marshal does.
So at the beginning of the parade, there's a marshal, and they're in a nice antique art hall, and the antique club supplies our antiques for our
Okay.
people to ride in. And so I get we discuss years in advance people who have been a vital part of our community and are unsung.
I love that.
So, like for the year that we had Ethelene Odom, oh Lord, she was 85, 90. Ethelene had been on the you name it, Habitat Board, Humanity, every board Ethelene served on.
Right.
What do you get? I call it this, you don't even get the box chicken dinner. You just do your
That's a good
time
one.
and march. So we honored her, and her family came, and we had a Cadillac for her, convertible, and her family was here. It was just granddaughters were with her. It was wonderful. And we put her name, and then we highlighted her.
Oh, I love that.
But you can't be doing what we're highlighting you for. You have to be retired from it.
Okay.
And so,
And do you take, let's say I thought of
suggestions?
somebody.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Okay.
Of course. Now, this year, I'll be honest, Jane Crawford, I'm telling you, you're in the parade. She's fighting me.
Okay.
Because she's going to be with family. Well, bring the family to Palatka, Florida. But anyway, Jane Crawford, because she has served our youth through the high school.
You are not wrong.
And you know, I don't really, the school board, that's one thing.
Right.
But she served our youth on the cutting edge, day to day. And so we're doing her. And Pat Milton, who I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Pat ran the water department here by herself before computers. She knows every address. She knew your bill. She knows your family. She knows everything. And Pat lives at 8th and Madison, and she's lived there forever. And we just love Pat. But I can tell you this, and I'll tell the world, Pat Milton's collard greens we call silky green because her collard greens are nothing but silk. They're so smooth.
My mouth watered.
Oh my gosh, they're smooth.
Now
we don't
he's
share,
not-
and we don't share them.
And
Yeah.
I'm not hearing that you take collard green bribes for this position. I'm
No,
just hearing that
no.
they're delicious.
But we're going to honor her because she worked down there tirelessly
Right.
for the city and took care of all of us. And
Well, I had no idea there
Yeah.
was a parade marshal. I mean,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
familiar with the term, but I think that that's a wonderful
Well,
opportunity.
what is so good is, they could be good podcast things. But
I like the way you think.
Pat Broski, Pat Murphy, I know her as Broski.
Okay.
At the newspaper from high school. Pat does a story on each one. And back in the day, and we're getting ready to institute this back, we asked the mayor to take our people out to eat and pay
Okay.
for it, of course. Because, it's an honor. It's an honor to be
Right.
with that. But we have asked other people. Bill Swaggerty is the only, that I know of, World Series champion from Palatka, Florida, baseball. He has the ring. We had him because that can inspire people to do something. You
Oh,
can get out of
absolutely.
town and you've
Yeah.
got this ring, and so we
And you came back.
yes, and you came back. Thank you. You came back because of the community. So we try to honor people. Now we've tried to get. Like Mr. Newsom, who has been on a Nobel Prize team. We've tried to get, we have a lady here who was a part of the computers at NASA that the movie is about.
Right.
We have a lady from that. Tolson with all of his music. We've tried to get some of those, but
Right.
we're not quite able, because we have no funds,
Right.
so we can't pay for you to come home.
Right.
But we do spend time really looking at that, and
But how cool would that be, though,
Oh, it
to
would be great.
to make this? I mean, this
Right.
parade is how many years now?
this will be the 114th running. We are the
114th.
oldest parade in Northeast Florida, and we're one of the few night parades left. And we have more people attending this parade than the cities around us with their Christmas parades.
I feel like again, Putnam County has all these hidden gems
Yes.
and these facts, and 114th. That's
Who has a parade? We have a photo. You'll love this. So we have a photo in the 20s or 30s, Coca-Cola truck. If you can imagine a 1930s Coca-Cola truck
right.
with all these Cokes stacked in it, and then all these Christmas decorations. It's parked in front of, waiting for the parade. It's parked in front of the Presbyterian Church, and their windows are open for the air. No air conditioning.
Right.
They're open for the air. We used that for one of our posters
Yeah.
one year.
I mean, what a
What a
beautiful
great
shot. Yeah.
Thank you.
I love
so-
that you have this history, and it is something. It is remarkable, really, and it's right here in our hometown.
Yes.
And for many community members, they can walk. I know I've taken my kids to that. My kids have been in that in one way, shape, or form. But it's something that you can be involved in. But how great to think about as what it could be, how you could grow that if
Yes.
we had some type of parade funds. Where
Wouldn't
we
it be
could
neat
invite
if we
people.
had a month of these activities?
Oh yeah, every
See?
weekend I would love that.
It would just be great. We've just had, and the thing that's neat is, like in my block, we have that parking lot across the street. So by 3 o'clock, the front row facing the street is lined with pickup trucks. Every last spot has a pickup truck. And when the time comes, they're going to put their chairs in the back of the pickup truck, so they're a step above, and that
Brilliant.
tradition. And then people, they come home for Thanksgiving, the kids come home, the parade is part of the activity. We have families that meet at the same location for the parade every
Oh,
year.
that's so heartwarming.
Every year they meet at the same location. We're in front of the bank.
Right.
We're in front of the courthouse. We're in front of Dairy Queen. And Dairy Queen,
Oh my goodness.
that's their biggest day of the year.
Really bigger than the festivals.
Oh yeah. Christmas.
you can't.
Christmas
you
Parade
can't
Day.
go wrong with Dairy Queen.
No, you can't. And
No.
that's their biggest day of the year. And for some other restaurants, it's just huge. But I did meet some people. I have met some people who didn't know we even had a parade and lived here all their lives. So it is always a challenge. But one
I
of the
think
things
that's
we
all
do
the
do
time.
is we send out notices about the parade through the schools and the preschools.
Very good way. Of
And
getting
I
that
usually get a
message out there.
sponsor to pay for those because I have to raise the money for the parade now. It's about $6,000.
Which really, in the scheme of things.
No, but it takes a while to beg $6,000 together.
Yeah, well, but many hands make light work.
Yes.
So if you're watching this.
If you're watching and want to help sponsor, because every policeman is on duty, and I have to pay the new fees, which have gone up. I have to have fire trucks. I have to have all of those things, the barricades, the street sweeper, the trash pickup. All of those details I have to have worked out in advance. And that's okay. It's part of the
We're
deal.
thankful for you carrying
Right.
this on. Now, is
Yeah.
it just you who puts it together
No,
now?
the downtown group still, the DPI is still a group, and we meet and we work on this and we work out the details, and then everybody is at their business
Right,
because it's by all means.
right.
You got people in front of you.
Why not?
You've got to.
And as I interviewed Mr. Hodge and Mr. Leibel with their history on the blue crab, one of the things that the blue crab really started, along with the trick or treat or things like that, was to bring business downtown and highlight the businesses. And yeah, I would love to see. He explained that on the wall back there in the office was a countdown to the days for
Yes.
blue crab, and I could just envision it. For me, it's post-it notes. If I could just have stacks of sticky notes. I mean, there's sticky notes on
Right.
my wall right now, and I planned an entire festival on sticky notes one time. But I just would love to see you mapping out 225 spots.
It's amazing.
Like somebody's got to take a picture of that.
Yes.
We got to get.
Well, it's
behind
a
the
process
scenes.
because it's usually at the Thanksgiving table, and a couple of years our family Thanksgiving we still gather as a family. We gather all the time,
Right.
all
All of
of us. But Thanksgiving, and Mom is 94 this November, so we're really gathering because we don't know,
Right.
and because she wants to be 100, so we've got a good 6 years. But my mom and I are sitting at the Thanksgiving table in Sarasota because we were having Thanksgiving with my sister's family down there. They were hosting, and I've got this big long table and all these children's groups, this group, and we're trying to put them in order and then taking them apart and redoing it. And then, of course, we had to leave to get back because I have to number the street.
Right.
during Thanksgiving night so that it's ready for Thanksgiving Day. So it's always it's Thanksgiving is not boring.
Right. Sure.
Not boring. I love it.
Do you have somebody who within the DPI that you are training up to carry the torch?
We really don't, but we have. It takes according to my list, it takes 31 people on lineup night.
Okay.
To get everything and we always have mess ups. Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's just part
just
of
the way it is. But we have 31, and they're all. It can be a night that you get yelled at because someone's group is behind someone else's group. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's a problem. But it is. And so I have to rotate the dance groups. I have to rotate different groups. So I have to keep good records.
Yeah.
So that there's a mixture all the time.
Right.
And part of it is I want the politicians out of the way. I want the dignity, out. I want all that needs to be first, and then I have all the other groups, and then we always end with Santa. I put the more traditional church floats towards the end, and I need churches to step up.
We'll be sure to put that message
I'll tell you
out there,
this one. Every year, I'll have someone come up to me and say, there's not enough Christ in the Christmas parade or enough Christmas in the parade. And I'll say, well, now, what church do you go to?
You go ahead and get it out there.
And I'm like, well, I don't see your church on this list for some reason. But let's work on that for next year.
That's a great answer. I like that.
You know? And because I really would love it if it was all floats and other things like that. I would love that. Lit, bright.
Those are some of my favorite pieces.
And, churches that tell me, well, where are you going to put your message before 17,000 people for free? Because we don't charge you.
Said. Well
said.
said.
And business, too. Now, I have businesses that want to put a piece of tinsel in front of their grill on their delivery truck and put it in. No. I will not let you into. I will turn you.
There's a 3-bow minimum.
Thank you. I will send you to the side because you're not going to be in this parade. The litmus test is the 4-year-old boy and girl sitting on the curb has to point and say, "Daddy, look at that."
I've done that in my adulthood.
Look
at that.
Thank you. And that's what we want.
Right.
And if you've done that, you have fulfilled the requirements.
I feel like I'm getting a full education now. So I have an idea of, I know where to go. Some of the things that are most memorable for me, I can't remember what year it was. I know there was a year that here recently we didn't get to go. But there was a truck I had to break my neck for.
Yes.
That was amazing. Tell me, to you, for you growing up, what you are always excited to see in the parade.
I'll tell you, and this is really funny, but every high school band participates. We recruit.
It's always fun to watch the high school
I get the middle schools now, and a Putnam Academy and QI, so we have more bands. But back in the day, there were 2 bands in the parades, and that was the Palatka South traditional band, and it was, for us, it was the Braves and the Bravettes. Did you ever see the Bravettes?
I might have, and it didn't stick. Sometimes it's
you
foggy
need to
in there.
look. The Bravettes were phenomenal dancing girls at Palatka South, and they wore a Bravette uniform with white gloves. Fantastic. But the energy came from Central Academy, and you could hear them 2 blocks down.
The drum line or the whole band?
The whole band.
Okay.
The whole band.
I do like a good drum line.
Oh, my gosh. The energy of anything just lifted.
Yeah.
Because they were just so energetic.
And the sound carries over the river, too.
Thank you.
So you hear it on the other
We
side.
loved it when the Central Academy band, and a whole crowd walked with them and followed them, but we just loved it. And that's a good memory. We don't have that now.
We're at the...
band is kind of a...
So I could get my, music band and put them in the back of a truck decorated.
I would love
obviously.
it. And play Christmas songs.
I dig it.
Now,
Is there a requirement for songs?
Well, I have been introduced to that since our twerking group. I did not know, but I went online. I didn't know those songs existed.
Oh, yep.
And we don't need any of those songs.
We're sticking with
We
Christmas.
need traditional Christmas songs. I don't care about Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. That's okay with me.
Right.
But I was introduced to some really vulgar songs, and we just don't need it. You don't need it. The English language doesn't need that for Christmas. So, and then I said, well, will you let your yeah, my grandmother listens to that. Well, I have forgotten about that too, because
there are young grandmas now.
Right. And so we don't, we need, but I would love to have your band in there in the back of a truck.
I don't have a band personally.
But that would be cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for creativity. You know, give me 3 goats dressed up like wise men. You know?
I dig it. So really, the world is our oyster. If we could think it as within guidelines,
right?
And there's no fee to be a part.
No
of it.
fee.
That's why. Listen,
we're a free parade.
We've got a flow arts college. We have very talented artists, musicians. I feel like there's some. We could probably level this up as a community and to recognize now how we get involved with that. You know, personally, I do really enjoy looking at the decorated floats. I love hate. I'm going to be honest. A love-hate relationship with the guys pushing the glow carts down there because the kids. You got to do it. I get it. I understand.
It pays the fee.
I
helps.
respect it, Sam.
Yes.
I do. But, you know, I do enjoy watching that and the kids all excited with their little swords that glow in the dark. And it really is. You know, I'll get my kids glow sticks and they always have candy. I'm going to make a little note real quick, though. For those of you, we'll be having Miss Nicole Grace with Keep Putnam Beautiful out when we're enjoying this parade. People, please. There are trash receptacles on the sidewalk. Let's be sure that we're loving the streets that are being loved by our families. So we always know that there's a big excitement around that, but make sure we pick up our trash. I was thinking about the candy being thrown out. But back to my story.
Yes. One of the things we would like for the future is we're on the river. You know, in the past, we've actually had lit boat parades. Chip Leibel and I worked on those.
That would be amazing.
And I would love to see that come back. But I would like to see a float in the form of a riverboat, steamboat. And I would love for it to be called the City of Palatka. And I would love for that float to go to every Christmas parade surrounding Palatka, from Jacksonville to Orlando. And I would like for each parade that we go to the float be manned. You know, I'd like to have people all over the float waving, etc. And I would like for them to be our residents dressed in Victorian on this steamship, City of Palatka, and waving to these other cities.
I love how passionate about this you are.
Can you imagine the tourism that we have?
Right.
We're working on another project. I could talk about that forever. We're trying to form a group of ambassadors, men and women. Several cities in Louisiana, Mississippi have them, and they dress up as Annabelle, and they greet the train for no reason.
Just because greeting.
You know. And greet. And
that would be, I mean, remarkable. Again, remarkable comes up. That would be something so memorable for someone.
And so we have an event here where the League of Cities comes and meets here. Our ambassadors go and greet them, and we teach them the history of Palatka so they can talk about it. And ambassadors, that's all. And we're teaching the kids poise about their city. How to greet, how to meet, how to present.
The lost arts, really.
The lost arts. But the people on the train that are greeted. And you just scramble on, you walk it, and you scramble off because you have a short period of time.
Right.
But any of that.
I like that idea.
Wow. And then the boat, I would like to see us do some things like that get us out of our community and into theirs.
Yeah. Again, this podcast in hopes of spreading that is there's so much here to talk about, to do, to participate in. So I love that you're thinking about how to expand this or to develop this into something a little bit different or new, or taking this idea out of the community. I love that you shared your idea of a float, having the steamboat. Is there anything else you really hope to see? Or
We have a whole list.
Yeah.
We have a whole list. We would like to start a lot of festivals, but right now sponsorships are tough. Palatka is tough. Business is tough right now, and we all flow to the biggies and expect them to write a check, and they can't, or they don't think that's their project or whatever, and that stops us from doing a lot of things. But I believe that we're getting to the point where we can come up with things. But yes, we have a list of things we want to do.
What about let me be more specific.
Sure.
In the parade,
Oh.
I'm excited.
Yes.
We will have
In
a
that
whole
parade,
nother interview for your future things.
I met a man from our store who knew a lady that does the batons in the villages. And that's the key is I would like to see us invite all of these eclectic things to come here, because we are by far some of the most eclectic people in the world here. We're creative, we're honest, and I want to bring these other people here. So the pirates from Fernandina are
We
coming.
got fire breathers anywhere on a lot of?
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool.
But I can tell you that one year for Azalea, we had a young man come and he did a magic act on the street corner. And from that magic act, he was from Gainesville, he ended up on Carnival Cruises as one of their main. He did, and I met him later, 10 years later, at the Strawberry Festival in Stark. I'm like, well, this kid sure has grown up. Is this the same one? And I went up and asked him. Our Azalea Festival started this young man, and he is now traveling everywhere doing.
I love that story.
And he wasn't even from here.
Get your start here and your future of entertaining at the Palatka Christmas Parade.
Yeah. So one of the things we're going to try to do this year is I would like in each block, going down in the middle of the block, I would like to get the Crescent City Band at 6:15 to 6:45 play and pass the popcorn bucket. And I would like to get another group over here or a dance group over here to entertain for 30 minutes and pass the popcorn bucket. That's for donations.
Yeah, no, I was about to make you explain it for those who might not
for donations.
Understand it. Yeah.
And then at 6:45,
the offering plate.
Walk down and get in line.
Yeah.
Because the road's closed off by then.
I would definitely.
So I'm looking for groups, and I need 8 or 9.
8 or 9 groups.
And it will highlight more Palatka, more Putnam County.
Yeah.
And I don't care where you come. There's a Filipino dance group that I'm contacting in Jacksonville. I'd like for them to come, and I'm going to invite the belly dancers from St. Augustine.
Oh, that's awesome.
But they have to wear a Santa hat.
Okay.
That's my requirement. They have to wear a Santa hat. But I'm inviting them
Jingle
to come.
belly dancers.
Why not?
You can borrow that.
They're fun. Yes, they're fun. So, I'm open to anything.
Yeah.
Contact me and we'll go from there.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I know
have
that
too.
there are so many more stories you've got floating around in there. You have been involved in so many things. I just want to thank you for your steadfastness and spending your Thanksgiving 2 a.m., which you know what? Sometimes I can't fall asleep. I might come help you with that.
I'm awake at the,
But to have someone who has a passion for this and the community, and you give back in so many ways. Your shop is incredible. Your stories are incredible. And so I thank you for the time that you've taken. Anything that we talk about, we're going to leave links below in the description. We'll also be sure to tag Deputy's Attic so you can make sure, or you can get a hold of Mr. Sam Deputy.
Sure.
I think there are a lot of opportunities for a time-honored tradition for many of our viewers out there. You've attended the parade. You've caught candy. You've seen all kinds of incredible floats. Maybe you saw the twerkers with me. I
Yeah.
also saw
Oh,
those.
you saw them.
Who knows? But maybe this is something that you meet on the side of the road with your family during the holidays. Be involved, because as a community, we are better together, and it does take us uniting. So if you want to be a part of this in any way, shape, or form, ask you to reach out. And until we have the opportunity to unlock some more magic of Sam Deputy's mind, we hope you guys have a great one, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for coming on.
And thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.